Hi everyone, it's Marie Rogers, your Sales on Fire coach, and it's Monday, so I'm here with your sales tip. And today's subject is one that's actually come up again and again and again, particularly with new clients that I'm getting. And it's about how to actually get the sales calls into your diary so that you can have the sales conversations that ultimately lead to the yes, okay, and getting fully booked with your soul clients. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to talk to you about how to do Facebook adverts and all your marketing, because to be honest, on this online world, that's something that I'm just getting to grips with myself. So I'm going to steer clear of that. That's not my bag, so I won't be telling you anything about that. What I will be talking about is sales conversation itself, how to get them into the diary with what I've been doing, which has been proven pretty successful because I actually came online at the end of March with nothing, really, apart from a smile. And it's, been pretty successful so far in terms of reaching out to clients. I don't have a website yet. Hi there, Matea. I don't have a website yet. I've not got a strong following. I don't even have an active group, which is one of my priorities now at the moment. So I'm going to ask you guys, when you're watching this, please post information, no, post your ask. Ask me what you want to find out about any areas that you're struggling with, because what my promise is that I will do a Facebook Live in it. I'm posting on this because I'm doing a Facebook Live on how to get more sales calls into your diary, because it's come up a lot. And the first thing that I'm going to speak to you about is basically recognising the difference between sales calls. It's not just about getting sales calls into your diary, okay? It's about reaching out and connecting with potential clients. There's a mixture of ways that you can actually do that. You've got maybe potentially your own container in terms of your own Facebook group, and that could be from inactive right through to extremely active, which some of my clients have. And what I said to them, that is basically people who have chosen to come into your group, and therefore they are already identified themselves as potentially your soul clients. So reaching out to them and asking them to come onto a call with you, or asking them if they can help you add value to your group, is certainly a good way to find out what they're about, find out what they're struggling with, and potentially starting to identify if they could be your soul client now or in the future. Now, the one thing that I want to say here and now is, I've got something that's, I've had my cat up near my nose, so now it's itchy, sorry about that. Oh, thank you, you're awesome too, Matea, thank you. So basically, what I want you to know is the difference between a sales call and actually just reaching out and having a conversation. I suppose that's really the main thing, because we've all been on those calls where you're kind of not sure if it's a sales call or not, and suddenly somebody hops into kind of selling you their product, and it can feel quite awkward because you're sitting in a situation where it's like, this wasn't what I expected. I see that happening a lot. People reaching out, and when you decide to hop on a call with them, they kind of go into sales mode. And these are big people who tell me that they don't want to be salesy. But by not understanding how to have a conversation, they end up being extremely salesy, because potentially most situations where they're interacting with what they perceive as their soul client, they end up telling them everything about what they can do for them. Not probably a good idea, and certainly not a good way to build credibility. Here's my advice, guys. Be clear on what it is that you're reaching out for, or if somebody's reaching out to you, okay? Be clear before you go on the call what it's about. Be completely transparent and upfront. So for me, I get that with, we had this conversation, but basically I want to be very clear, and I would advise you to be very clear about what type of conversation you're having, the purpose of it. Be very clear about the purpose of your call. Set the outcome that you're looking for. So if you're wanting to reach out to people in your group, what's the purpose of it? So it could be that you have two. One is, and you're looking to identify the potential for a soul client, and in order to find out how you can help them online, or how you can actually help them through your Facebook group, or how you could help them individually as a potential client. That's free. That's absolutely fine to ask that. The second thing is that what you want to do is, if you're having that call, be clear. When you're on the call, make sure that you set an agenda, and say to them what the call's about again, because then people can relax and actually relax in the conversation. So knowing what the call's about is what really helpful for people to say yes to actually getting the call in the first place. And they kind of want to know that there's something in it for you as well as for them, because sometimes when it's like unclear or kind of big vague, they're kind of coming on and they're not too sure what it's about. So for example, if you're having, I had a conversation on Friday with an absolute fantastic woman, and we got on and we've spoken before. I had a great time, and I went on all excited because we're having a cafe clutch, which is, for some of you that don't know, that's where you kind of just sit down, you shoot the breeze, you just kind of get to know someone, and it's not about having a sales call. And I know some people do treat it as such, and that's fine, just identifying, but for me, we went on, but very quickly it became apparent that this person was actually interested in what it is that I do, because they were asking questions about it and how I'd achieved what I'd achieved, etc. Now, at that point, I've got to, for me, I stopped and I actually said to them, listen, I just want to be clear on how, like what it is that you're looking for, because I want to have a conversation that suits both of us. And I said it in a really nice way, because what I didn't want to do is keep on going down the cafe clutch way if actually she wanted to talk about sales and the services it provide. But at the same point, I didn't want to go into a sales conversation unless I made it clear that both of us wanted to have that. Again, setting an agenda, leading the conversation. Now, what actually happened was that as a result of like being that honest and saying, what is it that you're looking for from me in this conversation, because I've come on with this, but I'm happy to change it to that, but let me know what you want. They turned around and said, well, it wasn't my intention, but as I'm actually speaking to you, I'm actually thinking that is my intention, so yeah, I'd like to find out a little bit more about what you do. We both enjoyed that conversation because we were both 100% in it. So don't mix up your calls. Don't go on saying it's one thing and then try and move it into a kind of a sales call, because that's misleading for everybody, and it doesn't tend to build up credibility or trust, really, does it? So if you're having a conversation and there's plenty of them out there, and you, in the back of your mind, you're identifying, could this potentially be your sole client? For me, if I'm having that type of conversation as I'm talking and we're talking about shooting the breeze and talking about what they do and what I do and all the rest of it, and I genuinely feel that they're somebody that I could work with and that I could help, and that they've got a struggle that we've referred to and they've got a desired reality, then I'm really honest with people and I actually say, you could be, well actually I don't even say you could be, I actually, you are my ideal client, and I'm just letting you know that because I've helped women like you go from where you are to where you want to be. However, I'm just letting you know that, and the information that I feel is important. And what I'm saying to you is, I'm happy whether it's now or in the future. If you want to actually have that conversation, we can have it. But I'm just putting it out to you, and what you want to do with that is up to you. Now, what I found from that is everybody says, I admire your honesty. And actually, do you know that's the one thing that I've never done? I actually like the fact that you've turned around and says to me, but you've not then tried to sell me, because that's what's happened in the past, is people have actually suddenly went into this sales mode, and I'm suddenly feeling like, and actually they go, and I've done that too. Now I know how it feels, whereas what you've done is we've had a talk, we've had a chat, we've been talking about life in general, you've not tried to sell me, but you've identified enough that you can see that I would be your sole client, and actually I'm starting to agree with you from what you've said, but you're leaving the ball in my court as to whether I would wish to continue with this conversation just now or at another time, or whether I just want to leave the conversation. And that feels really authentic. And the result of that has been that I've had people who have went on to have a sales conversation there and say, tell me a little bit more about what you do, because they thought, well, you've been up front. I've had ones who've says to me, I want to go away and, maybe I'll come out and reach out to you again. Hiya, hi Brenda. And that's been absolutely fine too. And I'll be honest and say that a lot of people have done that as well when they came back. And then I've had a couple of people that at this point, they haven't reached back out to me, but they interact with me. It's always be transparent. Don't try and have a sales conversation where the other person hasn't agreed to have that sales conversation, because it can feel underhand and it can feel awkward for that person, because they don't know whether they should be saying yes or no. And that's when you get a lot of MIAs. So you might end up having a sales conversation, everybody's kind of agreeing and everything, and then suddenly you're thinking, God, they're really interested, and then before you know it, they're kind of they've maybe said yes, or they've said I need to think about it, and they're away, and then you can't get a hold of them. The reason why that happens a lot is because they didn't feel as if they were setting the agenda and part of the initial conversation. And that happens a lot. So think about that when you're thinking about your own conversations, and think about, am I being upfront and transparent that I'm now having a sales conversation? Am I letting people know, or inviting them and asking them if they would like to find out different ways that they could work with me? Or am I suddenly in a sales conversation where neither of us agreed that was the purpose of it? So what I find is a lot of people end up being salesy that tell me they don't want to be salesy because they don't know how to have that sales conversation in the first place, or how to change a conversation into a sales conversation at an appropriate time. And that's certainly what I work with a lot of people to be able to do, because I've done it throughout my entire, like 24 years of doing it offline. It's no different online. But it should be a smooth transition for both parties, and it should feel comfortable and actually joyful. And if you invite someone and they can start seeing where you're coming from, where they've acknowledged that you could be a help, then 9 times out of 10, if not higher, they will actually, yeah, I'd like to find out a little bit more. But give them the choice before you jump into your sales spin. Let's not do that, because that's misleading for everyone. So hopefully that's addressed how to get, well, actually it says get more sales calls into your diary. Make sure they are sales calls. Don't mislead. If you want to have more conversations with potential clients, then go out and actually make sure that there's a benefit for them as well as a benefit for you in having that call, and be upfront about it. So the benefit for them might be that you can hop on and you might be able to like recognise or take them on to the next stage, or you might be able to solve a particular problem for them very quickly. It could be the benefit is that you're just going to have a really nice natter and chat about life in general, cafe clutch, whatever like that. It could be that you're basically on to discuss something, one specific thing. It could be that you're actually letting them know that you want to improve your group, and that their feedback is absolutely crucial so that they get more from the group and you provide more content and value, because that's both parties actually benefiting from that. And there's many more ways to reach out to your clients and speak to them. But if and when you decide that this client or this person that you're reaching out to via Messenger before you even hop in a call is appropriate, ask. And this is going to be a Facebook Live for me as well, maybe a little bit appropriate in terms of Matea's on here at the moment. But basically, sales is like dating, okay? Now, you don't go out on a first date and expect to get a marriage proposal. Well, you really shouldn't. But so why is it that at the first contact, if you like, with a potential client, we suddenly lapse into basically them wanting to buy from you, like asking them to buy from you? They didn't even know you existed before the call, probably, or they didn't know you that well. So take time to build the know, like, and trust. Now, if people like you, they'll listen to you. And they can't do that unless they know you. So first of all, they have to know you, but they have to like you, so they listen to you. Once they've liked and listened to you and they hear that, then they can move on to trust. Now, when they trust you, they'll buy from you. But in order to be trusted, you have to be trustworthy. So every interaction, every conversation, every contact that you have with anyone that could be a client, or anybody indeed, be authentic, be upfront, be transparent. If you feel that this is turning into a sales conversation, before you turn it into a sales conversation, let them know that they could potentially be they are your sole client, that they are your dream client, that they are your ideal client, and ask them if they would like to find out a little bit more about why you think that. Because you will tend to find, as long as you're not going to, and what they do with that is up to them, but for most, they'll at least want to discover it, but they'll feel more comfortable that they are able to say, yes, I would like to, or no, I wouldn't, at this time. So that's all I'm going to say for now, guys. But if you want to fill up your diary with people who really want to speak to you, be transparent, be upfront, be open, be trustworthy. Okay? Right, away for now. Bye.